Look familiar? The mini waterfall. Or some of you have terms for these. I've heard some of these. Things like water scrum and
Scrumfall.
Scrumfall. That's a good one. Right? Yeah, so, and what happens is sometimes the same thing, because the coding people will say, okay, we'll get it for you on Monday, and Monday comes and goes, and the QA people, they're stuck again at the end of every sprint. And they start saying things like, man, let's go back to waterfall. Because I only had to suffer like once every 6 months, and then I suffered every 2 weeks or so. And what we're trying to do is create something that's more like this. Changing it from people to activities. It's just work. It's work that's got to get done. So when we get to this place here, and the programmers are running behind, what's a good Scrum Master going to say? Gee, programmers, looks like it's time to don your testing caps. We're going to work together to figure this out. Are we a team or not? Now, I know it's kind of trite to hear those things, but we are truly looking at a team-based environment. So we expect people to win and fail as a team. We expect them to integrate together. And by the way, another way that we can help is by making the work more granular. You might have this problem if you have just one big request for the entire sprint. But if you had 20 small requests, you could probably do something like this a little more easily. So granularity is going to have an influence on this. So what we're really debating here from a management perspective are these two philosophies about people's skills. What do they bring to the table? One philosophy is the specialization philosophy. In that philosophy, I want the best Java programmer, I want the best QA person, I want the best DBA. And they're going to be so good at those skills that they bring that I know they can take anything and they'll turn it around like that. Specialization works great in the short term. Long term, you run into problems. I think if someone goes on vacation, things like that. Or someone quits. The other philosophy, more of the generalization or the cross-functional individual philosophy. In that philosophy, we invest time and money with our team members, giving them an opportunity to get exposed to other areas that maybe they never would have been exposed to before otherwise. That costs time and money to do that. It's a management decision to do that. But that's the more longer-term perspective. It's more challenging in the short term, but longer term, I've got people that are more engaged, they're more capable, they're more flexible when things fall apart around them. They can be more responsive. And it's not just skills, like programming and testing. You can apply the same philosophy to domain or system. I got this person, they're the best person in that part of the system. That's all she knows. And this other guy, he's the best part of that system. He knows everything about that. That's all he knows. And we run into problems, right, when we have those types of specialists. So that's the consideration. I'm not telling you to go out there and make generalists of everybody. You don't have to agree with anything I say tonight. We're just having a conversation about things to consider. So individual cross-functionality now leads into team cross-functionality. This is a list of things that had to be addressed at an organization where I was a software programmer. Some of you have seen this list because I've shared it with you before. I've told this story 1,000 times. It's worth retelling. Because while your list might look different, we had to take care of all these things during our project lifecycle to get something out the door. And I use this list because one day my manager came to me and said, hey Pete, what's the status of that module you're working on? And I said, oh, it's done. And she said, oh great, so let's see, it's Thursday morning. If we get the paperwork in by noon, we should be able to have your change in the production system by Sunday evening, right? And I said, no. No, we can't do that. The performance test was canceled. There was some hardware problem. The build keeps breaking. It's not my stuff. I know it's not my stuff. You know, someone slips up in past configuration management. They're trying to figure out what that might be. User acceptance testing? I can't hear those people, man. And she said, well, wait a minute. You said it was done. And I said, I'm done. And she didn't think that was cute. And she said, well, Pete, you know, it sounds like when I'm asking you for a status, you're thinking about these things. But what I'm thinking about is all this. And it helped us understand that we needed to come to an agreement on what does it mean when someone says they're done, or they're complete, or they're ready. And we had the same question for our development team. When the development team says they're done with a particular product backlog item, what does that really mean? What did they take care of? What different aspects of this did they address? More specifically, what did they take care of that allows them to legitimately bring that product backlog item, that request, to the sprint review meeting? Because if we didn't do all the things that we agreed upon, we have no business showing it at the end of the sprint. Now, wouldn't it be great if our teams had a definition of done that took care of all of that? Took us all the way up to here. Wouldn't that be great? I mean, some of you are experiencing this already, but imagine, for those of you who haven't seen this, the product owner, the business owner, coming to the team at the beginning of the iteration and saying, hey, here's my priority request. What do you think? And the team says, yeah, we think we can work on those. And they work on them. And at the end of the sprint, they show what they've accomplished. The product owner looks at what's been delivered, and they say to the team, I like that. Can I start using it? And the answer is always,
Yes.
yes. I mean, wouldn't that be great? That's like the holy grail of Agile, right? To be able to do that. And organizations sometimes will spend years getting to that state. But that would be great. So I propose this. And the IT manager says, sounds like a good idea. Go start talking to people. So my first stop was the business owners. They were responsible for UAT. They basically laughed me out of the office, saying, hey, look, Pete, I don't report to you. Okay, we got our own priorities here. If you think that my people are going to get on board with this whole Scrum thing, which is an IT initiative, and jump whenever we say test, that's not going to happen.
Nice.
Okay. I understand. Some of you have seen that too. Okay, so I go back to the team and I say, hey team, guess what? User acceptance testing cannot be part of our definition of done. It doesn't fit. It might happen, but we can't promise the business that UAT will take place by the end of every sprint. So our definition of done cannot be here. It is now here. Right? Graphically, make sense? Okay. Performance testing. Went to the data center manager, they were responsible for that. Much nicer about it, but basically the same answer. He says, hey look, Pete, love to help you. I don't think I can do it though. I got one set of hardware, got a limited number of virtual licenses. I'm drowning in requests for performance tests. Every time I get a new request, I have to reset the hardware, and I can't do it all. There's no way I can promise you that we will get all these requests completed by the end of these little sprints that you're on. Okay, I understand. So performance testing cannot be part of our definition of done. We can't forget about it. This has to be addressed, but they cannot be promised within the sprint. So instead of our definition of done being here, our definition of done is here. Right? Get it? System testing. That was handled by our configuration management group. For us, that meant integration and regression testing. I went to them, explained the whole thing. They said, well, Pete, you know we have no automation, right? I said, yeah, but you have a budget for that, right? And they said, yeah, but having a budget and getting it is two very different things. That's a long-running project. They said, you know it takes us 2 weeks to turn the whole system over, right? You mean like integration and regression testing? Yeah, about 2 weeks. Yeah. I can see where this is going. There's not enough time for your teams to give us work that they've completed, have us go through the whole suite, provide feedback, allow for some rework, and get that rework into a second pass, because you have to have at least 2 passes. It's physically impossible. It's not going to happen. I understand. So our definition of done cannot be here. Our definition of done is now here. See what's happening? Just going back to waterfall, that's all, right? The further away your definition of done is from production ready, the more waterfallish behavior your team must exhibit. Because after they say they're done, they still got all these other things they have to take care of. Maybe the next sprint, maybe it's the sprint after that. And you get the same question come from the top. You could be in an organization that says, yeah, we want a complete plan. We want to see the full list of requests, everything prioritized and estimated. We need to understand the full budgetary impact. Then we're going to turn it over to our business and technical impact analysis people. After we review their report, we're going to turn it over to our designers. Those are UX people and architects. We want to see wireframes. We want to see architectural plans, maybe even build some architecture. After we review that, then we'll turn it over to our scrum teams. And you have scrum teams that are just doing that. And they're wrapped in waterfall and wondering, is this it? How come we're not seeing what we were promised? We're trying to expand the team's definition of done, always trying to figure out how to make them more and more capable, more and more independent, more and more responsive to changing business needs, so they don't have to go through a whole lot of process and approvals to get things done. So what does a cross-functional team look like? Well, I had a very simple three-tier architecture. Your systems are more complicated than this, but you get the idea. If I could create feature teams, that's going to move me more on this path. I got teams that have database skills, they have middleware skills, they have front-end skills. They can deliver an entire slice of product functionality. Now, I can distribute work across teams almost at will. And know at the end of the sprint, I'm going to have something that's closer to production ready. You go to a restaurant, where's my Italians? You go to a restaurant, you order a piece of lasagna, right? You're looking for the whole slice. Right? You don't want them to bring a wet noodle. Eat that first. Right? Then they bring a bouquet of sauce, put it down, okay, now eat that. And then bring some cheese into that. And no, you want the whole slice. Right? That's the valuable piece. Now, there's a whole tray back there. So we might want lots of slices before we're fully satisfied. But that whole slice is going to give you the whole experience. That's what I'm looking for. That's the organizational challenge. So here we are, back in this picture again. That's the before picture. What might be